Well, it's official. I told you it would. Brett, my life is ruined. Kavanaugh is in the Supreme Court. Donald, grabbing by the pussy, Trump is in the White House. And Bill Cosby's in prison. So we're going to get into what the fuck happened, why, and most importantly, should black people even give a damn? And if so, what should we do about it? We're getting into it right now. Let's do it. Well, what's up, people? It's your man, Harkon Ajala, a.k.a. the Bad Boy Genius, your host, untamed as always, of Smart Black People TV. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel right now so you can get all of this good shit that you can't get anywhere else as soon as it drops off the press. You know, I hate to be right sometimes, but I told you guys in the last video that this is what was going to happen. Brett, my life has been ruined. It's all about beer. Kavanaugh was confirmed by Senate vote and sworn into the highest court in the land, the United States Supreme Court, over the weekend. And it's weird because Donald Trump, Bill Cosby, all essentially accused of the exact same thing under the same circumstances, and yet they get completely different outcomes. Ain't that interesting? I wonder why. Well, let me tell you, it's kind of funny because some people say that it has nothing to do with race. My own girl, Jamel Hill, I know was on record as saying she didn't think the Bill Cosby thing had anything to do with race. Some people say it's unfair to compare the three, that their situations aren't similar. And to all of that, all I can say is, like, what the fuck kind of weed are you smoking? I respectfully and vehemently disagree, and I love Jamel Hill, but look, I mean, this shit is about as simple as it is. In every case, we had the exact same things. I mean, they effectively all had the same thing happen to them. They all had women who came out and said that they either sexually assaulted them or tried to sexually assault them. All the women came out years later, 5 to 30 years later. And in every case, there was no physical proof or evidence. It was their words against their words, or the women's words against the men's words. And before you say, well, Bill Cosby said in the deposition out of his own mouth that he did it. No, he didn't. What he said in his deposition, you can go look this up. And first off, let me say this. I think all three of the motherfuckers are guilty, okay? I don't think they proved Bill was guilty in this last case, and I'm not sure that he was. But I think all three of the motherfuckers did this shit, okay? In the case of Bill Cosby, contrary to public belief and public opinion, he did not say that he got quaaludes so he could knock women out and have sex with them without their consent. What he said was he got quaaludes to give to women that he wanted to have sex with, okay? He denied knocking people out. Now, I'm not here to bang the drum for Bill Cosby's innocence. I've already told you. I think in the vast majority of those situations, he did the shit. Partially because, again, I went to school and majored in psychology. I can tell when people are lying, and I could listen to the stories and read the body language of some of those women and tell that they weren't lying. Same thing in Kavanaugh's case, same thing in Donald Trump's case. But here's the thing. The outcomes were completely different, right? The two white men, they end up in the highest levels of power in the United States of America, one in the White House and one in the Supreme Court, and Bill Cosby lands in prison, even though we actually all heard and saw Donald Trump out of his own mouth admitting to sexually assaulting women, admitting that he grabbed them by the pussy. You can just grab them by the pussy if you want to, admitting that he went into their dressing rooms to see them naked, acting like he was doing something else, admitting that he would just grab him and touch him or start kissing him without even asking. We all heard that. And yet, look at the difference in outcome. look at the difference in how the media reported this, okay? And I'm telling you all this to make the case that in America, race is like money. Race intersects everything. Race has something to do with everything in America. Because just like America is a capitalistic system that's based on money, America was originally designed as a white supremacist system based on the belief in the superiority, the preeminence, and preference for white people. From the very beginning, the so-called founding fathers set it up that way, and it's been that way ever since. So a lot of people don't even think they're racist, and yet they still support the white supremacist system because it's in their best interest to, and because they've been conditioned to. A lot of black people still support white supremacist beliefs and the system, not because it's in their best interest, because they, like everybody else, have been conditioned to. So let's look at this. For example, look at how the media, the difference in how the media covered these three gentlemen. Okay, so Bill Cosby's accusers came out, and the media has never stopped talking about him since. They did specials for each one. I mean, they had documentaries, they were on TV all the time telling their stories, etc., right? Kavanaugh had three women come out. You don't even know two of the women's names. You only know Kristen Blasey Ford, Dr. Kristen Blasey Ford, because she had to testify. And that shit played out over like a week. And in a week, they were like, okay, that's it. FBI's, spent a day and a half supposedly investigating it, right? The FBI. Can you believe that? Day and a half. Yeah, we looked into it, nothing there. And this motherfucker's confirmed. And in the Supreme Court, Donald Trump, you don't even know a single name of one of his 15 plus accusers. I'm not talking about Stormy Daniels or the porn star or the escort, etc. I'm talking about the 15 plus women who said Donald Trump either sexually assaulted me or tried to sexually assault me. The media didn't even give you all that information. And you know what they've done? They moved the fuck on. They don't even talk about it anymore. Even in the midst of Kavanaugh's situation popping back up, the accusations against him, and the Bill Cosby accusations, trial, conviction, and sentencing. And all that shit was happening like in the same 2-week news cycle. And yet, they just dropped that shit. They don't even talk about it anymore. Much like they don't even talk about the many lies he's told, like he said he would release his tax returns. We're still waiting on those. They just let that shit go. But with Bill Cosby, nah. Pounded on it. The media subpoenaed to get his sealed deposition released to the public. What he and Andrea Constand agreed would be sealed privately, and that was used to convict him with no physical proof, no evidence. Period. End of story. Again, I'm not pounding the drum for Bill Cosby's innocence, Kavanaugh's innocence, or Trump's innocence. I think that it's obvious all three of the motherfuckers are guilty. What I'm pounding the drum for is, why is there such a difference? Why did Bill Cosby end up in prison? Trump ended up in the White House, and your boy Brett Kavanaugh ended up in the Supreme Court. Well, here's the deal. Like I said, in America, white supremacy is baked into the system, baked into the society. And in white supremacy, race trumps everything. Race trumps everything. See, Cosby had more money than Kavanaugh. He was a billionaire like Donald Trump alleges to be. But he wasn't white. And he also wasn't hooked into the same power circles that you can only really be hooked into completely when you play the game a certain way with a certain circle of people. Because see, here's what it all boils down to in politics. And this is at the crux of why, besides the fact that he was white. See, he was white, that's why the motherfucker didn't go to prison. But the reason he's really confirmed, truly the reason, is because politics runs on two things, my friends. Not fucking service to citizens, not fucking doing what's right for the country, not patriotism, not the greater good. It runs on two fucking things in America, and that's money and power. Period. End of story. Money and power is what drives politics and what happens in politics. Period. End of story. And when you are tied into the elite power circles, typically you need to be white, first and foremost. But when you're tied in there and you're white, you have carte blanche and shit's gonna happen for you. Example. Let me ask you this question. How the fuck you think it's just coincidence that Brett crying because I'm a father and a husband and all that bullshit, Kavanaugh, you think it's an amazing coincidence that he actually clerked for the same Supreme Court justice that he is replacing on the United States Supreme Court? The motherfucker that's retiring, Justice Kennedy. Kavanaugh worked for George W. Bush. George W. Bush was secretly pulling strings with the GOP and telling them, hey, vote for this guy. Look, this is how it works. It's all about money and power, my friends. And that's what connections are based on. Let me give you more examples. This is why there never has been and never will be campaign finance reform in politics. They want to allow as much money as possible in because that's what runs it. This is why corporations are treated by the IRS as people, and the Supreme Court, voted to allow corporations to contribute unlimited amounts of money to political candidates just like people, giving them the same rights to contribute to politicians' campaigns as individuals. Yes, that same Supreme Court that is now even more conservative. I'm just calling it the way it is. You can get into your shilling for the Democrats. Look, I'm calling it the way it is. The fucking conservative Republicans appointed judges on the Supreme Court voted to make that shit happen. That's why the motherfuckers with the money put them there, for that reason. And because of that, it has made it absolutely legal to openly buy politicians. That's why, here's another eye-popping example of this for you, if you need more proof. That's why the Koch brothers who are two of the wealthiest individuals in the world, and certainly in America, multi-billionaires, that is why the Koch brothers have publicly announced, you can look this up, that they are going to spend $400 million. Let me say that again. The Koch brothers have announced publicly that they are going to spend $400 million giving it to campaigns in just the midterms of 2018. $400 million just for the midterms in 2018. They said out of their own mouth that they have been able to get better results with their campaign contributions and get more shit done that they wanted in the last 5 years than they have in the last 50 years. And that's because it's been about 5 years that the Supreme Court voted to allow corporations to publicly spend as much money as they want to funding politicians' campaigns. And they don't do that shit out of the kindness of their own heart or because they're patriotic citizens or want the best for the citizens of the United States. Don't be fucking idiot, folks. They do it because they want control and influence. Control over and influence on the politicians that they are donating to. That's why you get regulations dropped that allow their companies to make more money. That's why you get things like the Environmental Protection Agency gutted so that they can continue to pollute and not have to worry about paying fines for it. You can look this all up. It's not debatable. You know, some of you motherfuckers on the right, well, no, it's not. It's not debatable. Look it up. It is what it is. You hear me? So this is why Kavanaugh was confirmed. Okay? Money and power. He has those connections. But there's another, maybe even more insidious reason that Kavanaugh had to be confirmed. Because here's the reality. Look, Donald Trump even hinted at this. He's like, well, you know, maybe my mind will be changed and I can nominate somebody else. Look, they could have bailed on Kavanaugh, said, look, you fucked yourself up, whatever. And Donald Trump could have picked another fucking nominee who would have been just another white, dude, conservative motherfucker to put on the Supreme Court. Okay? He could have picked another one just like him. He could have even dipped in and picked a conservative woman or whatever. Okay? But they didn't. They had to stick with Kavanaugh and confirm him. And here's why. They wanted to send a message to future sexual assault survivors, future sexual assault victims, future people making allegations that they were sexually assaulted. They wanted to send them a message, and that message was pretty fucking simple. You bitches stay in the woodworks. That's the message they wanted to send. You bitches stay in the woodworks. There's no sense in you even coming out, because the only thing that's going to happen is your reputation is going to be ruined. You're going to be personally attacked, and we're going to move forward and do what the fuck we want to do anyway. They had to do that because they wanted to stop and stem a fucking riptide of women, some men maybe, even coming out of the fucking woodworks against all these people. You think other motherfuckers already there don't have skeletons in their closet? They don't want motherfuckers popping up during their re-election campaign saying, hey, he sexually assaulted me? You think people coming down the pike who are going to be running, people they already have targeted and ticketed to run for the Congress, for Senate, to be nominated for the Supreme Court, to run for president, you think those motherfuckers don't have dirt and skeletons in their closet? They want to discourage vehemently and publicly discourage people from coming forward in the future. You bitches stay in the woodwork. We're going to do what the fuck we want to do anyway. So, the last part of this really is, as smart black people, as free-thinking black people, as critical thinking black people, as intelligent black people, should we really give a damn? Should we care? Doesn't matter to us. Look, I just gave you good reasons. There are some people who like to say, oh, it doesn't matter, what happens for black people, it doesn't matter who's in there and so on and so forth. Let me tell you, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's a bunch of bullshit. That's emotional rhetoric. And emotion is how you play checkers, not how you play chess. Chess is played without emotion. And in chess, you make the best move for the long term. The best move for the long term. I've already given you some of the bad shit that happens that affects black people negatively. When you get motherfuckers in there that are going to vote for shit that's going to go against our best interest, period, end of story. You can look at their records and see if they've voted and stood consistently against issues that are in the best interest of black people. You want to keep them the fuck out of there. So, we should care, and here's what smart black people should do. Two things: build and buy. Here's the deal. What smart black people need to do is we need to build economic power bases, black businesses, black organizations that are by, for, and of black people. Black businesses that create jobs for black people. Black organizations and services that teach black people to build businesses, teach black people how to build wealth. And then to each one teach one. You know how it goes, okay? You build up an economic power base, money, wealth, and then you band together with that money and that fucking power that the money buys you, and you buy politicians. Remember, Supreme Court's made it easy to do. It's the American way. It's the fucking American way, and it always has been. You use that money to buy influence with politicians, because that's what it takes. And you buy it from whatever politician will do what you want, what's in the best interest of your community. Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. That's how you do it. If you haven't read Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Powernomics, you really want to see how to do this and go in depth in this, go and read that book right now. I'll put a link in the description where you can click and just pick the book up from Amazon. Look, enough motherfuckers don't read. More than ever, everything we need is in the books, And more than ever, motherfuckers, don't read. I'm telling you, get Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Powernomics, right now. Read that shit, and you'll see in depth what I'm talking about and how to do it. Now, I always like to give solutions, not only on a macro level, but on a micro level, because people, you need to know, what can I do right now? So we can't just run out and make the whole black community build businesses right now. What can you do right now? First thing, learn, self-educate, get that book, Powernomics, and teach and learn yourself how to open a black business on the side to create some kind of income stream for yourself and your family outside of your job, and that hopefully can create for other members of your family and other black people in the community. That's something you can do right away. Take that step right now. Educate yourself on how to do it, and then go do it. That's what it's all about. And the last step we need to take, and this is going to be controversial, vote against motherfuckers who champion causes and take actions that are against the best interests of the black community here in America and across the world. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, vote against. But let's be honest here, folks. I'm sorry, but if you look at the records, that's mainly Republicans. Now, Democrats have their other issues, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. But regardless of getting into left, right, and all that bullshit, vote against politicians who have shown through their actions that they stand for things that are not in the best interest of the empowerment of the black community. Now, you can tell me if I've hit it on the head, or you think I'm wrong, you disagree. I'm not fragile. I'm a free black man. I'm not beholden to anybody. The whole purpose of me creating this channel, the mission, was to tell it the fuck like it is, to be enlightened and deal with what is, not what we want it to be, what we wish it was. Deal with what is, and then we determine how to get to where we want to be. Okay, so let me know in the comments if you think I hit it on the head or you think I'm wrong. And most importantly, make sure that you like or even dislike this video if you need to. Comment and share this with your friends, family, and throughout your social media, because we need to get intelligent, dignified information and images of mentally, spiritually, financially, and morally powerful black people embedded and flooded into the minds of ourselves and our children, instead of the ignorant, degenerate, uncivilized, criminalized, uninformed, financially foolish, coonish, buffoonish images and so-called role models that the media bombards us with today. Look, if you're waiting for some other group to come along and make things better for us because it's the right thing to do, don't hold your breath. When we improve, our conditions will improve. When we become exceptional, our conditions will become exceptional. And if that chaps your ass or offends you or pisses you off a little bit, rubs you the wrong way, good. Remember the Smart Black People TV credo. Ain't nobody gonna save us but us. That ain't what we say, it's what we do. Live, lux, or die, baby. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.